First thing I want to do is just reiterate how to create a document necessary for your process notebook in class. So go to File, New, Document. Now when you get this window, you need to decide what type of binding you want. If you decide on the saddle stitch binding, you need to make sure your pages are in increments of 4. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 16-page book because I'm going to show you how to do a saddle stitch bind. I want to make sure my facing pages are checked. I want to start at page 1. I want my page size to be letter format in portrait, and this is important because that was a requirement in class. And then this is set in picas, but if you're unsure about that, go ahead and type your measurements of what you want. Just make sure you include that IN for inches at the end, and then it'll convert the math for you. Go ahead and choose 2 columns. You can do 2 or 3. I would avoid doing 1 column. It's really not a very strong design element to have text go across the entire page. It's much more aesthetically pleasing and easier to read if you have columns of 2, but you can have it down to columns of 3 depending on the size of your type. You also have your garter at 1, and then you have your margins. Now for saddle stitch binding, I recommend just sticking it with the 3 picas, which is a 1/2 inch all the way around. But if you're going to do the spiral binding, make sure you unlink this, and you want a 3/4 of an inch on the outside margin, and that's 4 picas 6. So points. So now we have our outside setting, and this is for if you have spiral binding. Again, I don't recommend that claw binding. It's a little weaker and brittle, but either way, this will allow you, if you click the preview option, this will allow you to show you how you have more space where the spiral is and now have a little bit of space before you hit your typography. Now, like I said, we're going to go ahead and do 3 because we're doing a saddle stitch bind, which is those 2 staples I was talking to you about. And I'm going to choose and click OK. So now you have your document set up with page 1 here and all the way down to page 16. If you don't have your Pages panel open, go ahead and go to View, Window, and choose Pages. And this is important, and this is where you'll find all your panels here that you need. But again, that's Pages here. And that is where we can start. Now, for me to better and more efficiently show you the benefits and page numbers, and also kind of packaging at the end of when you're ready to go to print, I went ahead and made a quick little document here with some sample information. I just used color, a little bit of text, a sample page from the Photoshop samples area, Greek text with placeholder text from InDesign, and then a little color at the bottom. So nothing fancy, not even complete, but it has a little bit of information so you can start to see how pages shift and change. So the first thing I want to do is talk to you about how to make a page number. So we're going to double click on our master page, and that will open up our master page options. Now I'm going to zoom in, and for a Mac I'm going to hit Command+, but if you're on a PC just hit Control+. And then I'm using my spacebar to bring my page down here. Now you can use the rectangle tool and then click with the type tool like I showed you in class, or you can use the text type tool and click and drag a box easily to put your information in. Now I want to insert a page number, so I'm going to go to Type, Insert Special Character, Marker, Current Page Number. And again, that's Type, Insert Special Character, Markers, Page Number. And click OK. Now you see a giant A. Now this A here, I'm going to change my font and my style to make it the way I want. Now I used Avant-Garde Gothic for my cover font, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that. But I want for my page numbers to be a little bit bolded, so I'm going to use my demi format. Now traditionally page numbers are 10 and below. That doesn't mean you have to make them that small. A lot of times they're used as design elements and you can increase the size. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead and stick with 10-point type. You guys can still see it, but it's within the norm. Then I'm going to use my selection tool and move this where I want it. I'm going to make my box size a little bit smaller here, and then I'm going to shift it down so it's in alignment with the pink line. I'm just using my arrow keys here on the keyboard. Once I have this the size I want, you actually don't have to you actually don't have to reinsert the type again. You can actually just copy and paste this over to the right page, because if we leave this right now, only your left pages are going to have a page number, and we want to make sure both sides of the book have a page number. So we're going to select the text box with our selection tool, and as I pull it away, I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key for PC and Shift and pull it over to my right until it lines up with my margin here. And I'm going to zoom in to make sure it's all right here. And then I'm going to click on my type tool, and this will activate my type options here, and I'm going to change my alignment to right. And now my type is aligned to the right side of the page. So now it doesn't matter what page I click, you can see my numbers are clearly being identified on the page. Now currently my page numbers are showing whatever page number is available here in the page for me to set up my information. But let's say you have a cover here, 1, 2, where you don't want your information. So you can drag your none option here on 1 and here on 2, so your page numbers are not visible. But the problem is that even though they're not visible, this is still showing 3, and what I want to happen is I want it to be now page 1 or page 2. We can even do page 2, so this could be page 1. You can have it set up however you want. You can actually have this be an alphabet and this page be page 1. And I can show you that as well. But let's start off by just showing you how to make that page 1. So the first thing you need to do, and this is where the little trick comes in, is that you need to go down and at the upper right hand corner where it says pages, you need to make sure this little box that says allow document pages to shuffle is unchecked. Traditionally, it is checked, and when you have this checked, your page will always make sure the one page is on the right-hand side, and it'll shuffle your pages over, which will be a frustration for you when you try to do this. So make sure that's unchecked, and then once you do, have the page where you want to change the number to selected, and then go up to your layout in your menus bar and go down to numbering and sections, and choose Start Page 1, and then hit OK. Now a warning will come up because I currently have 1 and 2 here, but I'm going to show you how I can make that the alphabet later on. So I'm going to choose OK, and so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and moving on. So I can go here and you see 1. Now for page 1, we can go to Layout again, Numbering and Sections, but rather than where it says 1 here, we're going to, or the numbers, we're going to choose alphabet, or what other element you want to, numbering system you want to use. So I'm going to just use the alphabet and choose OK. And now you can see it clearly marks A and B, and then 1, 2, 3. And then my pages won't be confused for printing. And I have a clean situation with the numbering starting on page 3. Once you have this all set up, now it's time for print. Now we talked a little bit in this in the class about it. You want to make sure you save your document first. I already did. I have this saved as booklet sample tests. Then I want to go to File, Print. Now before I print my booklet, the best thing I suggest is to always package your information, especially if you plan on taking this to a printer. So we always want to make sure we check our situation here. We have summary of fonts, links, and colors. So our fonts here are all OK status, and there's no protected issues. We have our linked images. Status is linked. That's good. And we don't need to set up any other issues, so I'm going to choose Package. Now, you always get a printing instructions option. You do not need to put this in, but if you are going to go to a professional printer, a lot of them will use this for contacting you. So you can put your name, your contact information, or just your email address, or however preference you want them to contact you. I'm going to go ahead and choose OK. And then I'm on the desktop, I'm going to go ahead and make a folder and choose Package. Once your information is packaged, go ahead and look at your folder here, and I'm going to show you here. It's booklet samples. Open it up, and you can clearly see your information. We have booklet samples test. You have your InDesign file. This is really important to understand your IDML file, and that is to let you know if you have an InDesign version that's older, this is where you save it. You can also save down for this if you're going to go between two different versions of InDesign. It will always make a PDF for you, and then it will have a folder for your links and show you the images you used as well as a fonts folder. And then it will have your instructions text, and that's where you put your contact information for the printer. So everything here is in a nice pretty folder. This is the folder you'll go take to the printer and print out. If you would like to print from home, go to File, Print Booklet. When you choose this option, when you look at setup, the important thing is if you set up the option where you have various different types of page numbering systems, you want to make sure when you go to pages you choose all. Otherwise, your pages will be shifted awkwardly. The next thing you want to do is, I always like to preview my feature. So we went ahead and you can look at the cover and the back cover, and you move through. And everything looks okay. You have to remember, the reason why it's saying 14 is because we also have an A and a B that's making up 2 pages, so it's 16 total. We look at our preview, we go back to our setup. Now if you're not able to see this situation, the booklet type is a 2-up saddle stitch, and that's because we're doing a saddle stitch and you're showing that you want 2 pages up. So that's the situation. Everything else is set. We talked about creep in class. If you think you're going to do a really large book, you can adjust the creep here, but you guys should be okay with everything set up like this. And once you hit preview and everything looks okay, now it's saying this warning right here because my page setup that I have printing attached to is 8.5 by 11 page. And technically if I were to print this book, it would be on 11 by 17. So you want to make sure that you choose 11 by 17 when you set up your book to print. In the setup option here, for under custom, you're going to go ahead and choose your printer and then your page size that you're going to want. I don't have my printer set up, so that's why it's not going to show you. And we're going to go ahead and choose print. And then it would start your printing. You just want to make sure when you go ahead and you choose your printing that you make sure you're paying attention to the orientation of your page when it goes in through the printer, and also how it's going to flip so you can plan on printing the other side. If you would like to make a PDF of this, you can go down to File and choose High Quality Print. And that will set you up with a PDF. Now that you have your book, let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, good luck with your process book.